seatbelt? You'd better put that on before that... Uh-oh, too late. Cops everywhere are stepping up enforcement, so you'd better buckle up or you will get caught. Sorry to ruin your day. Click it or ticket.
Funded by the Florida Department of Transportation.
Raising Cane's invites you to grab life by the chicken fingers. So get out there. Be you. Do you. Embrace whatever makes you, you. All while enjoying Raising Cane's hand-battered cooked-to-order chicken fingers, crispy crinkle-cut fries, buttery Texas toast, and that secret recipe cane sauce that makes everything that much better.
Raising Cane's chicken fingers. One love.
Cane's is coming soon to Tamarack at University and Commercial.
Get ready to elevate your driving experience with the all-new 2025 Range Rover Velar P250 Dynamic SE. A stunning blend of luxury performance and technology that will make every drive unforgettable. Right now, you can lease the new Velar for just $809 per month for 36 months. Yes, only $809 a month for a luxury SUV that sets new standards on the road. Visit Land Rover Palm Beach today and take advantage of this incredible offer. Terms and conditions apply. See dealer for details.
ESPN 106.3 congratulates the Kaiser Seahawks men's tennis team for their first ever national championship. It's national title number 26 for Kaiser Athletics. Get more info at KUSeahawks.com and here on ESPN 106.3, the home of Kaiser Athletics.
While it's not always possible to see contaminated water coming out of the faucet, the taste is difficult to ignore. Ugh. And what about plastics and pharmaceuticals now in the water? The team at Culligan is here to help. Culligan offers water testing and reverse osmosis systems designed to filter out those contaminants right at the source. Culligan has been helping the local community with water issues since 1936. Schedule your appointment today at Culligan.com.
Hey, Culligan man!
Anajar and Levine.
Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
ESPN 106.3.
WESP Jupiter, a Good Karma Brands radio station.
Franchise quarterbacks don't grow on trees, as we know. But if one potentially became available, which ones are worthy to trade for?
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios.
The man your man could smell.
Theo Dorsey is theoretically speaking.
But are you a different animal and the same beast?
Streaming live on YouTube.
You're gonna break up with me because of what I do on the radio?
Here's Theo Dorsey.
Mike Rizzo filling in for Theo Dorsey. Day number 2 on Theoretically Speaking. Christian Capp behind the glass here at the City Place Studios. We're streaming live on Twitter/X, YouTube, Facebook at ESPN West Palm Beach. You can find us on that radio dial, 106.3 FM, and my favorite way to listen, that ESPN app. Go to Listen Live, scroll all the way down to ESPN West Palm Beach. Christian, how we doing today?
Spectacular.
It is a beautiful day outside. As always, I'm doomsdaying a bit today because I got to go home, and it's freezing at home. And I'm going to have to bring jackets. I'm going to have to bring the whole 9 yards. I yelled at my folks. I don't know what the hell's going on in the Midwest. It's dark. It's dreary. You had to cancel some games last night in baseball because it won't stop raining up there. It's almost June. I'm going to need the Midwest to figure it out a bit. But I'm dreaming of being in South Florida this Memorial Day weekend, which I will not be. Christian, I was listening on Sports and Like this morning with Evan Cohen, Chris Canty, and Michelle Smallman. They had the great Adam Schefter on. And Schefty said something interesting. Now, they were talking specifically about Brock Purdy. And we hammered Brock Purdy pretty good yesterday on, is he worth the money? What quarterback? We played the Purdy line yesterday. So we're not going to spend too much time on Brock Purdy today, but Adam Schefter had an interesting jump-off point, I think. Let's take a listen to Schefty on Unsportsmanlike this morning.
Brock Purdy's initial asking price was north of $60 million. He was not going to get $60 million. He was not going to become the highest-paid quarterback in football. It didn't fit into the 49ers salary structure. And I think also there was the idea that at one point in time, like, oh, well, maybe the 49ers would have listened for Brock Purdy trade offers. There were no trade offers that came in. There were no teams that really expressed interest. So, and Brock Purdy's perfect for them, and he's perfect for them. Like, they're perfect for him, he's perfect for them. It just works. It's the way it should be. His value is greatest on that team.
So two things there. Let's get into the first one first. Shefty said at one point in time, maybe the 49ers would have listened to a Brock Purdy trade. We found out that no one really wanted to trade for Brock Purdy. And as Shefty explained, he's a system guy. Let's focus on that real quick. 888-760-3776 is the Baptist Health Hotline. What quarterbacks, how many quarterbacks are worth trading for if they became available? That's my question. How many quarterbacks are worth trading for if they became available? I think you could go a lot of different ways here. The three I have no doubt in my mind, the three that we need to get away that I don't even think are worth the conversation are Mahomes, Burrow, and Allen. Those are the three.
Yep, class their own.
And they always have been. Mahomes, Burrow, and Allen. Now, Burrow's been to the Super Bowl. Allen is still trying to get to the Super Bowl. Mahomes is Mahomes. Mahomes is on his own tier. I could darn near say Mahomes is on his own galactic planet.
I actually heard what I wanted to hear. You said Burrow and not Jackson in that top class. You're saying Mahomes, Burrow, and Allen, not Mahomes,
correct.
Allen, and Jackson.
I do not, and listen, I like Lamar a lot. I think Lamar is a great quarterback, two-time MVP, two-time. Christian, I don't know if teams would be ringing off the hook if he became available like the other three. I really don't.
Well, I will say a point that goes in your favor is that Lamar Jackson was made available.
Right.
A couple of off seasons ago, and no one was willing to give up the money he was asking for when he paired it with the draft pick that would have been required to give him to the Ravens for Lamar Jackson. So, point in your favor, but come on.
Now,
We're seeing some of these teams with some of these schlubs that they run out there at quarterback that they wouldn't make any effort, especially after the MVP, after the extension for Lamar Jackson. I think people would trade for Lamar Jackson.
Now, to Christian's point on that, after he was made available, he has had some pretty good seasons. I mean, he won an MVP. He went to an AFC championship. Similar to Josh Allen, Lamar has been there, done that with basically everything outside of his Super Bowl. And Christian is a Raven fan. He could speak on this better than I can. But I think the three of Burrow, Allen, and Mahomes are probably the ones that would be ringing off the hook. Not saying that there wouldn't be teams calling for Lamar Jackson. But I think those three clear, and I think those three are in their own tier. It's funny you say, because as a team who doesn't have a quarterback, I probably would call for Lamar. Christian, I would call for Lamar Jackson.
Breaking news, you would try to get Lamar Jackson on the Cleveland Browns?
I would probably, now I'm trying to be less Ohio here, but yes, I probably would make a phone call for Lamar Jackson, even though that team has about 4 different quarterbacks on that roster. But the question, how many quarterbacks are worth trading if they became available? That three is my cutoff line, Allen, Mahomes, and Burrow. Now, the ones that get interesting are Lamar, Jaden Daniels, Justin Herbert, Jordan Love. I think that's the next tier of this. We're separating this by tier as we do when we're talking about the quarterbacks on how good they are, right? Like usually the three of Allen, Burrow, Mahomes own tier, and then Lamar starts the rest. And it's funny I'm saying, listen, this might be some slander on the two-time MVP, Lamar Jackson. He's a great quarterback, and he has a lot of accomplishments that a lot of these guys, even like Allen and Burrow, don't. A two-time MVP. I mean, a two-time MVP puts you automatically into the Hall of Fame. The 4 of Lamar, Burrow, Mahomes, and Allen are probably the only Hall of Famers so far that I would go for as a quarterback in the NFL right now. Would you agree?
Well, are you considering how much they're getting paid? Because if you're trading for someone, you're probably taking on that money too. And if that's the case, then there are plenty of other options. Right. That if you have to trade for, I would almost go instead of a Burrow or an Allen because of the value you're getting and you can build around them.
That's interesting. Now, at all these quarterbacks that I have, like if we're talking about value, you're going to look at C.J. Stroud. You're going to look at Jaden Daniels. You're going to maybe look at Caleb Williams. You're going to look at some quarterbacks that are still on a rookie contract. But let's throw contract out the window because, like, if Josh Allen became available, I think everybody is at every team that is hungry for a quarterback. And I would even argue, Christian, some of these teams like a Detroit that has a Jared Goff, they might even throw their towel into the fight. They might even throw their name into the pot to upgrade the position. I don't want to make it, because they never in the NBA in the Luka Doncic trade, the Mavericks never really made it publicly clear that Luka was available. They only called the Lakers.
There was no bidding war. There was no open market for him.
After we found out, teams were like, oh, we would have offered this package. We would have done this. We would have done that. We found out that a lot of teams would have came calling for Luka. So I think it's similar to that aspect of, if one of these quarterbacks were to become available, I think teams would drop what they were doing to try to upgrade the position. Christian, let's listen to the Shefty sound again. Once again, Adam Schefter was on Unsportsmanlike talking Brock Purdy, and I think it's a great jump-off point with a lot of things that he said. Here's Shefty on Unsportsmanlike with Evan Cohen, Chris Canty, Michelle Smallman, talking Purdy, and talking how nobody at the time was willing to trade for him.
Brock Purdy's initial asking price was north of $60 million. He was not going to get $60 million. He was not going to become the highest paid quarterback in football. It didn't fit into the 49ers salary structure. And I think also there was the idea that at one point in time, like, oh, well, maybe the 49ers would have listened for Brock Purdy trade offers. There were no trade offers that came in. There were no teams that really expressed interest. And Brock Purdy's perfect for them, and he's perfect for them. Like, they're perfect for him, he's perfect for them. It just works. It's the way it should be. His value is greatest on that team.
And my question on the Baptist Health Hotline, 888-760-3776, how many quarterbacks are worth trading for if they became available? I put the three of Mahomes, Allen, and Burrow. That's kind of my top-tier A-list cutoff point, followed by the Lamar Jacksons, the Justin Herberts, and the Jaden Daniels. Now, Christian, has Lamar played good enough in the playoffs for you as a Raven fan? Because I think Josh Allen has played well enough in some of these games throughout his career. Joe Burrow led the Bengals to a Super Bowl. I thought played well enough in that Super Bowl to possibly win as well. And Patrick Mahomes has 3 Super Bowls at this point in his career. This is what I am judging on. Playoff success and how do you lead your team in the playoffs. Have you been impressed with Lamar Jackson's performances in the playoffs?
Last year, yes. He played good enough to win that game and beat the Bills. Absolutely, the 2024-2025 season for Lamar Jackson was good enough to bring them to the Super Bowl. His teammates let him down in that aspect. Mark Andrews with just a disappointing drop on the 2-point conversion. But ask the Giants if they're going to take Lamar Jackson. Ask the Titans if they would take Lamar Jackson.
Hang on,
they're not going to ask the question, but about that AFC Championship game.
What do you mean? The Giants have Jackson Dart. You're not a Jackson Dart guy?
Yeah, they would trade for Lamar Jackson today.
The Titans?
Right now. They would abandon ship. They would say, Jackson Dart, here is all of your guaranteed money. Please take a ship, go see yourself in Europe, and we'll talk to you maybe 7 years down the road.
Does Lamar belong in with those 3 that I mentioned?
Yes.
Am I being unfair?
Lamar Jackson has proven to be a franchise-altering player. Like the Ravens.
Hall of Famer. Hall of Famer,
sure.
Some say.
The Ravens changed everything they did because they realized what they had with Lamar Jackson after a half season when he took over for Joe Flacco due to injury. They committed to him, maybe not financially in that point, but when you talk about the personnel around him, how they formatted their offense, Lamar Jackson will make any franchise that he's at, and he's proven that.
Lamar may be the cutoff point on this. I still think the 3 of Allen, Burrow, and Mahomes is probably a step ahead of Lamar, specifically playoff performances and what they've been able to do within the playoffs, but I don't think it could be argued that Lamar is arguably the best regular season quarterback we've seen throughout the last couple of years. Mahomes has had some incredible years, but the Chiefs have kind of found a formula to be successful where Mahomes doesn't have to throw for 400 yards. Jackson is impressive because he'll run for 100 yards and throw for 250 and have 3-4 total touchdowns. That's why he's the MVP year in and year out. I would like to see him play well in a big spot. And to Christian's point, the game against the Bills was a big spot. The game I go back to that the Ravens should have won that left a bad taste in my mouth, Christian, was when the Kansas City Chiefs did not score a point in the second half in the AFC Championship game in 2023. They didn't score a point. And they found, and they still won the game. And it's not like they were up like 2 touchdowns at halftime. It was a close game at half. The Ravens got a field goal, had a chance late in the game, and they weren't able to do anything.
Well, I don't really understand how that's a point in your favor in terms of separating Lamar Jackson, not just a tier below, but definitively a tier below Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, the quarterback who ran that offense didn't score a point in the second half. Patrick Mahomes,
but Mahomes has the silverware. That's the issue here. Mahomes has stepped up in big spots. Mahomes has been the reason his teams have won Super Bowls. That's why I think those three are on. And listen, I will listen to this stuff about Josh Allen. Josh Allen's never been to a Super Bowl. So if you want to get on me about Josh Allen, fine. But Mahomes and Burrow, I think with how well Burrow played, and they won in Arrowhead. No one wins in Arrowhead in late January. We agree on that, right?
So how many years of not making the playoffs does one win in Arrowhead to get to the Super Bowl buy him? Because we're really stretching thin on holding on to 2021 at this point.
That's fair. The Bengals have been, let's call a spade. The Bengals have been disappointing. The Bengals have not necessarily competed for that division the last couple of years, and they've missed the playoffs, to Christian's point. A lot of that's not Joe Burrow's fault, but I understand the point. Burrow, 2 different times threw for almost 500 yards, and they lost?
That's fantastic.
They lost.
I would rather make the playoffs, win a playoff game, and then fall short than having 17-game sample size and prove to not be good enough to be among the elite in the NFL, like Joe Burrow did last year.
And Burrow has the players to do it on the offensive end, with T. Higgins now being signed to a long-term deal, Jamar Chase being signed to a long-term deal. I think there are a lot of pieces on that offense, like Chase Brown, that are kind of unsung heroes as well. They need to figure out that defensive side of the ball. And it's crazy to me that a team like the Bengals can draft somebody, and those 2 draft picks, their 2 top draft picks, are already holding out. They're already holding out for contracts and money. I mean, the Bengals truly know how to find them. But I'm interested. I really am interested to hear what other people have to say on that Baptist Health Hotline, 888-760-3776, because I would still, with Burrow and the playoff non-appearances, the blunders by Josh Allen, and not being able to get past Kansas City, I would still put those 2 over Lamar, because when you get there, they've had opportunities and have made opportunities for their teams to go to the next level. Let's talk about the next tier, Christian, because I have Lamar leading that next tier of quarterbacks. Once again, how many quarterbacks are worth trading for if they became available? I'm separating this by tiers. Allen, Mahomes, and Burrow are in their own tier. I'm going to follow this up with Lamar, Jaden, Justin Herbert, and then it's tough after that. Would you put Jordan Love on this list? I wouldn't. I would not put Jordan Love on this list.
One fantastic playoff win and a great end to not the season that passed, but the season before that. So I don't think people are. Then again, I think Rizzo, you are understating how much quarterback poverty there is in the NFL.
There is,
where you're talking about pretty much good quarterbacks. You can definitively say that Jordan Love is a good quarterback. You can say Lamar Jackson is a great quarterback. And pretty much everyone else you mentioned, good quarterbacks, whereas you cannot say that the quarterbacks that were taken in the draft this year or last year are definitively good or great.
Let me rephrase. Obviously, these quarterbacks are worth trading for teams that are in quarterback poverty, to Christian's point. But we're separating it by a tier here, all right? Those 3, I think, are on a level of their own, and Mahomes, Allen, and Burrow. That order for me, 1 through 3. I think Mahomes and Allen are the top 2 quarterbacks in the league, followed by Burrow, number 3, and then I start a new tier. That's the point I'm trying to make right now.
We're tiering guys.
I'm tiering guys. I am. You made me switch my tune on this when you asked me, Riz, if you as a Brown fan, would you trade for Lamar Jackson? Christian, I'd pump out 100 push-ups in a row, something I can't do. I could do about 30 push-ups in a row. I would sit there until I could push out 100 push-ups for Lamar Jackson to be on my football team.
They talk about mom strength, where they would lift a car to save their son.
Exactly.
You would defy the laws of mankind in order to get a fantastic quarterback on the Browns.
Correct. So I've decided to tier this. What is the cutoff point? 888-760-3776. What's the cutoff point? Those 3 are my cutoff point for tier number 1. I'm sorry, I do not put Lamar Jackson up there. You could call foul on my point and my part, but I put him in that second tier, and he's leading off in the second inning. There's no problem, Chris. No problem being the middle of the order guy. No problem. I got Lamar, Jaden Daniels, Justin Herbert, And the ones that are in question for me, Jordan Love, Trevor Lawrence, Dak Prescott. Those are the quarterbacks in question before I start my next tier.
I would say those three names you just mentioned, Prescott, Love, and Herbert, and Lawrence, they are in the next tier. I don't put them in the same conversation right now. Listen, it's 1 year sample size. Jaden Daniels probably had the greatest rookie season for a quarterback ever. He was in the NFC Championship game because of his play, for Christ's sake. So I got to give him the credit. We haven't seen a year two data point yet, so I can't discredit and assume. I just really can't hold it against him that he'll probably regress.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that line is there. And those three names, Love, Lawrence, Dak Prescott, do not belong in the same conversation right now, as Lamar Jackson and Jaden Daniels.
So,
and even Herbert might be getting a benefit of the doubt here.
Do I need to stop gatekeeping on the top tier list then? If there's only two guys on the next tier, do I need to open that first tier up and throw those two guys in there? I mean, if there's only two guys on the next tier, do I need to stop, quote unquote, gatekeeping and put a rookie in Jaden Daniels that went to the NFC Championship game and a two-time MVP in Lamar Jackson up to the A tier? Do I need to open it up?
No, because I wouldn't put Lamar Jackson and Jaden Daniels. Like, Lamar Jackson accomplished a lot. They went as far as each other. Lamar Jackson had many more cracks at making it to a championship game in his conference. Jaden Daniels 1 for 1 in that aspect, but Daniels didn't win MVP last year.
Is Lamar held, and maybe I'm guilty of this too, is he held to an unfair standard, Christian?
The victim of his own success. Yeah. When you win MVPs, you have different types of expectations when you get to the postseason. There were really no expectations for Jaden Daniels. We knew he was a good prospect. He wouldn't be a top 3 pick if he wasn't a good prospect.
It happened, and it happens in sports all the time. I mean, look at LeBron. Remember when LeBron didn't win that first year when he was with the Miami Heat? It's like the sky was falling. When Michael Jordan couldn't beat the Pistons. That's a good point. And I hope it's a matter of time for Lamar. I do. I hope it's and listen, this is I can't, and I'm not going to sit here and say I root for the Ravens because quite frankly I can't stand the Ravens, but I do like Lamar Jackson. And I do hope Lamar Jackson could get his Super Bowl one day because it would be a shame at the end of his career to look back and go, wow, he is one of the greatest quarterbacks to never. It's the Dan Marino syndrome. And right now, everybody on this list, Christian, outside of Jalen Hurts, who we're going to get to next segment, okay? Because I got another question based off of that Schefter sound. Everybody outside of Jalen Hurts on this list does not have a Super Bowl ring. Because Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs have been gatekeeping Super Bowl rings for a very, very long time. A quarterback, and Christian, I'm shooting from the hip here. Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, and then I think after that it's Tom Brady. In terms of Super Bowl winning quarterbacks the last 5-6 years?
Well, Matt Stafford won a
2021. 2021. I forget about Stafford. And I don't even have Stafford on this. Shame on me. I mean, is it to the point because he's too old? Maybe. Where does Stafford fit into this equation? Realistically, he's got a year or two left. So, I don't know if you're ringing off the hook. And listen, the Raiders did. How about that? The Raiders did. I'm a victim of my own question. The Raiders called off the hook for Stafford. Was it was Tom Brady maybe doing his buddy Matt Stafford a solid to get more money? Maybe that was the case. But it turned out that the Raiders were ringing off the hook for a ton of quarterbacks. Geno Smith, for God's sakes. Geno Smith. That plays into your point of, Riz, it's not a question if people will call. We got to tier these things, man. Because people would call for Lamar. People would call for People are calling for Geno Smith, for God's sakes. Who's probably, the 12th best quarterback in the NFL?
People would call for Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
People would legitimately starve for Kyler Murray.
$46 million a year, by the way, Kyler Murray. I still can't believe that contract. Fair play to him. But yeah, people would call for Kyler Murray, certainly. And I think Murray's solid, man. I was down on him last year. I was down on the Cardinals as a whole. I never believed in that team last year. I never thought that team was going to be a playoff team. But certainly Kyler Murray and a lot of these quarterbacks are going to have to be thrown into this. So how about this? Let's take our first time out. 888-760-1037. 3776 is that number on the Baptist Health Hotline. How many quarterbacks are worth trading for if they became available? How many quarterbacks are worth trading for if they became available? Mike Rizzo, Christian Cat, theoretically speaking, on ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
In South Florida, when it's time to get back in the game, there's a name you need to know. HSS Florida. HSS ranked number 1 in orthopedics for 15 years in a row by U.S. News and World Report. HSS brings world-class care to Palm Beach and Wellington. Whether it's a joint replacement, sports injury, or orthopedic trauma, HSS Florida treats athletes of all ages. Visit hss.edu/Florida to schedule your consultation today. HSS Florida, where champions and everyday people alike get the care they need to stay at the top of their game.
This is ESPN 106.3, a Good Karma Brands radio station.
Find official rules for all your favorite ESPN West Palm contests by visiting ESPNWestPalmContests.com. That's ESPNWestPalmContests.com. You're listening to ESPN 106.3, the ESPN app, and streaming on your smart speaker.
Clinton and Friends hits the air weekdays, 10 a.m.
I told you guys that I went to the LAFC game when Messi was here. I got an email that was like, yo, heard you were at the game. Do you want to come on ESPN West Palm Beach? I was like, yeah, sure. I was handling my son, KJ, who is barely 5 months old. How am I going to keep him quiet? My son is my son, and he's a yapper. He likes to talk, and I told Mike Rizzo, my son's going to be here. If he chooses to talk, we're just going to have to deal with it. KJ didn't say a word. The force is strong within that one.
Clinton and Friends, weekdays at 10 on ESPN 106.3.
Want to accelerate your career as a manager or executive in the exciting industry of sports? Florida Atlantic University's MBA in Sport Management program is ranked number 1 in Florida and 10th in the world. Students learn practical and applied skills from top faculty and experts who work in the industry. With a 94% placement rate for all grads, the full-time MBA program sets students up for success in the world of sports. Check out Florida Atlantic University's MBA in Sport Management program today by going to business.fau.edu.
Hi, I'm Michael Manzo, owner and founder of Manzo's Italian Deli, and I...
Stop, Dad. After 20 years, people are tired of hearing your voice.
Yeah, and your lame-ass commercials.
Fresh prosciutto, mozzarella, outstanding.
Oh, please.
There's only one reason Manzo's is voted number 1 deli in Palm Beach County for 20 years. Our mother.
She makes sure you prepare everything from scratch using only the freshest ingredients.
Manso's Italian Deli is located on Palm Beach Lakes Boulevard, right next to Rain Dancers.
Is that a strip club?
No, it's a steakhouse. Manso's is open weekdays from 8 to 5 and offers free delivery. So stop by or call 697-9411. That's 697-9411.
We also specialize in hot and cold catering for corporate functions and special events.
Just ask anyone who was at my last birthday party.
Are you ready for a global summer showdown? Saturday, June 14th at Hard Rock Stadium. Football legends collide at the opening match of the 2025 FIFA Club World Cup. Al Ahly versus Inter Miami. Messi, Jordi Alba, and Inter Miami take on Jamal Mashour and Mohamed El Shenawi of the Egyptian powerhouse Al Ahly. Don't miss your chance to be part of history. Saturday, June 14th at Hard Rock Stadium. Grab your tickets now at FIFA.com/tickets.
As market dynamics change, the quality of service you receive from your accounting firm shouldn't. Anshin Accountants and Advisors take the time to get to know you and your unique circumstances to help resolve complex issues and develop innovative tax and accounting solutions tailored to meet your goals. If you're a high net worth individual or business owner eager for a strategy to maximize tax savings, let Anshin deliver where others can't. Visit anchin.com. Anshin Accountants and Advisors, recalculating what's possible.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios, Theo Dorsey is Theoretically Speaking. Streaming live on YouTube, here's Theo Dorsey.
Mike Rizzo filling in for Theo Dorsey, Christian Cat behind the glass here at the City Place Studios. We are streaming live on YouTube, Twitter/X, and Facebook at ESPN West Palm. You can find us on that radio dial, 106.3 FM. And then my favorite way, the ESPN app. Listen live, scroll all the way down to us, ESPN West Palm Beach. We're talking quarterbacks. We're talking quarterbacks you'd trade for. Adam Schefter was on Unsportsmanlike this morning talking Brock Purdy. A lot of jump-off points with the sound we will hear in just a second. But, Christian, I'll tell you what, not a lot of championship quarterbacks on these tier lists that we are creating. But do you want to know who does have championships? That's our college over there, Kaiser University, baby.
Dude, I was driving in Okeechobee. We made a right on Military Trail, drove north for a little bit, and I looked right, and I saw the flagship campus of Kaiser University today because championships are right here in West Palm Beach, specifically the Kaiser Seahawks. They're all about championships in the classroom and now on the tennis courts. Did you hear? For the first time ever, the men's tennis team are now national champions. Yeah, congrats to Robert McAdoo, coach of the Seahawks tennis squad, for winning their first NAIA title. They beat Georgia Gwinnett, who won the previous 10 national championships. To be the best, you got to beat the best, so now you consider the Kaiser Seahawks tennis team the best. The tennis team's red banner comes right on the heels of the men's lacrosse team winning their third consecutive straight title the weekend previous. Kaiser now has 26 national championships, plus 69 regular season and 71 conference championships. Get the latest on the championships from Kaiser Seahawks Athletics, KUSeahawks.com.
888-760-3776 is that Baptist Health hotline. We're talking quarterbacks today on Theoretically Speaking. Christian, let's hear that sound clip again of Adam Schefter on Unsportsmanlike. He was talking about Brock Purdy, and he mentioned not a lot of teams were calling for Brock Purdy. Not a lot of teams were inquiring if Brock Purdy was available. And he also said something else very interesting we're going to get into. Let's hear Adam Schefter on Unsportsmanlike.
Brock Purdy's initial asking price was north of $60 million. He was not going to get $60 million. He was not going to become the highest paid quarterback in football. It didn't fit into the 49ers salary structure. And I think also there was the idea that at one point in time, like, oh, well, maybe the 49ers would have listened for Brock Purdy trade offers. There were no trade offers that came in. There were no teams that really expressed interest. And Brock Purdy's perfect for them, and he's perfect for them. Like, they're perfect for him, he's perfect for them. It just works. It's the way it should be. His value is greatest on that team.
And that's what I want to focus on here. His value is greatest on that team. A system guy, Christian. How many system guys are in the NFL? I got a couple. I got 4 off the top of my head. Jalen Hurts, Brock Purdy, Jared Goff, and Tua. I think Tua, yes. I think Tua is a Mike McDaniel system guy. When Tua isn't on that Dolphin team, they're not good. They can't make those deep throws. They can't do what they want to do. Hence, a system guy. Jalen Hurts, I think probably the biggest one on this list. Man, does he work in Philadelphia. The tush push. The, 100, how many times have we seen him throw for like 200 yards flat? He knows what he has to do to win football games. Brock Purdy, you just heard it there from the great Adam Schefter. We all know Purdy's a system guy, and clearly teams agree. No one inquired for him. The Niners had no problem giving him $53 million. He was never getting that. Let's be honest with ourselves. I know you want to aim for the ceilings if you're Purdy. I understand why you're asking for $65 million. Never going to make $65 million.
Yeah, it's interesting you put Tua in that conversation because your rationale makes me think otherwise. If you take Tua out of the system fails. So it makes me think that a quarterback is successful when he's a system quarterback because of the system he's going into.
Sure.
Not because he is the cog that makes it all work.
And we'll see, like Sam Darnold, right? Darnold was with Kevin O'Connell last year. And I know that messy situation with Caleb Williams was bad, but like something that was eye-opening was how much he liked Kevin O'Connell. These quarterbacks like playing for Kevin O'Connell. You want to know why? It's a good system. The reason I say Tua is a system guy, he didn't have much success with Brian Flores. Now, I know there was a lot of things there. Like Flores didn't want him. He wanted Justin Herbert and would, for all intents and purposes, pick on him at practice. These are things that were reported. I'm not saying that they're true. If we remember, Brian Flores had to come out in a press conference with Viking players backing him up to defend himself almost a year ago. But I think Mike McDaniel unlocked Tua. And we've seen Skylar Thompson and other quarterbacks not be able to do and emulate what Tua has. And Tua does have a big arm. Let's give him his credit. But those guys in Goff, Tua, Purdy, and Hurts, I would probably put as a system guy, similar to Brock Purdy. And I'm interested, like, where these guys fall in on our tiering system. Once again, we asked in the first segment, how many quarterbacks are worth trading for if they became available? There are a ton of quarterbacks a lot of teams would be calling for. So we decided to tier this thing. I have an A tier, a B tier, and a C tier, and the rest fall under D. The A tier that I have are Allen, Mahomes, and Burrow. After that, Lamar and Jaden Daniels. That's B. C tier, Jordan Love, Justin Herbert, Trevor Lawrence, Dak Prescott, Jalen Hurts, and Brock Purdy. The D tier, Goff, Mayfield, Geno, Kyler, Darnold, and I put Stafford in there. Like, this, Stafford's the outlier. I think Stafford's the glitch in the system because he played great last year. The problem is he's old. He's an older quarterback.
Yeah, you don't want
the time. I don't want to say a ticking time bomb, but like I think that's why he signed that deal with the Rams, because if he isn't good in the next couple of years, the Rams have a lot of outs.
Yeah, you kind of feel like in terms of if you're going to wave the flag for Matt Stafford, every year it feels like I don't want to be the one that jumps on the Matt Stafford train the year too early or late. I don't want to crash and burn quickly, but he's staying around. There's a reason why he had suitors and why he was asking for more money. He believes his value is there, and he sees himself playing for many more years.
They played the Super Bowl champs better than anybody in that snowy game in Philadelphia in the playoffs. Played them well.
It's almost like if you can, we're talking about committing to a quarterback in week one. If you could tell me you're getting a 100% completely healthy Matt Stafford, a fresh Matt Stafford, and a mid-seed in the NFL playoffs, I would like that. But how can I guarantee that he's going to be there for an 18-week stretch of a season when you just see that these guys' bodies break down when they get older? And maybe it's unfair to use all those data points that are not Matt Stafford against Matt Stafford, but you're playing the numbers here, specifically the age number.
And I had my doubts about Stafford going even into last year. I remember I kept pressing Colin on Russo and Rizzo, 4 p.m. to 6 p.m., I kept pressing Colin, like, are the Rams thinking of maybe life after Stafford? I think that's the maddest he's ever been at me. And he's gotten mad at me numerous times. But I think one of the most heated I've ever seen him was, Colin, what do you do life after Stafford? And his big thing is, why are we worrying about life after Stafford? Guy's playing great. And I know this offseason, kind of, we revisited that when there were rumors that Stafford might be leaving L.A. and Vegas throwing their name in the pot. Does McVay want to move on? You know, their backup quarterback still is Jimmy Garoppolo, but the Rams, have positioned themselves very, very nicely for this upcoming draft, which is quarterback rich. They traded out of the first round this year to get another first round pick next year. We remember the Atlanta Falcons traded up for another pass rusher, which gave up their pick. So I really like what the Rams have been doing. But as far as this tiering system, I think Matt Stafford is that outlier where, a lot of teams would take Matt Stafford as their quarterback for next year. Let me ask you this question. There are a lot of people out there who believe this. And with what you said, I think you might be one of those people. Is it unfair to call guys quarterbacks system guys? Is it unfair?
Well, are you using it in a derogative way? Or is it a knock to a quarterback?
I guess I am.
So successful in that system that if you took him out of that, he would be flat in his face?
I guess I am. Because if you look at what Hurts is able to do, it's impressive. The tush push, the play action. I love Hurts in play action. I like him in space. He's a dangerous runner. But I really wonder if you take A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and the 3 tight ends and the offense, like I wonder how good he would be. Like you see, the reason I have Allen, Mahomes, and Burrow where they are, I think they make guys around them better. Now, you can make an argument for Joe Burrow, who's never really played a down of football without Jamar Chase outside of 1 year, and he got hurt that year. But I am under the assumption Burrow would elevate people around him if he were in situations. Like Josh Allen elevates people around him. Patrick Mahomes elevates people around him. I think even Jaden Daniels is starting to get a little bit of that syndrome where Terry McLaurin, he had 13 receiving touchdowns last year.
Scary Terry was good before Jaden Daniels.
Listen, That's a Buckeye right there. I defend my own. What I'm saying is the guys who were there before weren't elevating McLaurin's game, weren't getting him the ball in a timely fashion to where he could really put his skills on display. I don't know if these guys are floor raisers. I think they are a product of the system. And I'm not surprised people weren't calling about Brock Purdy. I think Purdy, now Christian, you're not a Purdy guy. At all.
No.
At all.
You could probably name me 15 to 20 quarterbacks that I would take over Brock Purdy.
I counted all these quarterbacks I have on the list, and it's over half the league, Christian. Allen, Mahomes, Burrow, Lamar, Daniels, Love, Herbert, Lawrence, Dak, Hurts, Tua, Goff, Mayfield, Geno, Kyler, Darnold. I think you would take all those guys over Brock Purdy. I know it was a long, wishy-washy list. I think the Genos, the Mayfields, the Kyler, the Darnold is probably the Goff.
You could also add Caleb Williams, if you ask me.
Right.
I would take Caleb Williams.
Because of the potential?
Yeah. I mean, not many quarterbacks have succeeded in Chicago, so it's fair to assume that partially because of the non-playoff year the Chicago Bears had was not because of the quarterback that was the top prospect in a loaded quarterback draft. So I think right now, I mean, if you had the 49ers tools around Caleb Williams, we're singing a different tune.
Probably.
And this is maybe A1 hating. People are probably screaming at their radio because I simply am not sold on Brock Purdy. But the dude didn't make the playoffs last year when he stripped away some of his tools.
12 interceptions, too, in 15 games. Really turned the ball over. It's one thing I can't stand. One thing I cannot stand my quarterback doing is turning the ball over at an incredible rate. And listen, 12 and 15 games, I call that an incredible rate. Wouldn't you?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was up there. As far as games played, too, he was certainly up there. We're tiering quarterbacks. Theo Dorsey. Where's Theo? The France? Parc de France?
I think he currently is in France. He's got trips going everywhere.
Well, he's listening. He's angry. He says, Riz, there's no way we're watching the same football if you have Joe Burrow over Lamar Jackson on your tiering list. Riz been off the juice or something. Blood test this man. Happy hour. It's not until 3. Coming up this July 4th, I will be 4 years proudly sober. But listen, Theo, that's why I'm opening it up. If you think I'm wrong about Lamar, and I know Theo is the biggest Lamar fan out there, he was hammering home Lamar Jackson for the MVP, and fair play to him. He ended up winning the MVP. But if I'm tiering quarterbacks that teams would be calling off the hook for in the NFL, the A tier is Allen, Mahomes, and Burrow. I stand by what I say. Lamar's on B tier. You don't got to go far. He's leading off the second inning, D. He's leading it off with Jaden Daniels. And I tell you what, if Jaden Daniels has another great year like last year, he might be on that A tier. I mean, Jaden Daniels in his first year to go to an AFC championship game? In his first year to go to an AFC championship game, that's mighty impressive.
You're taking fire here on the phone lines, Mike, because people are not happy with you looping in Jalen Hurts in the same conversation as Brock Purdy. That brings us to Mike in West Palm Beach. Not the Mike in West Palm Beach that's talking right now. Not Mike Rizzo. Different Mike in West Palm Beach. It's Mike and Mike, a different version.
Yeah. Mikey, how's it going, partner? You're on Theoretically Speaking.
How you guys doing? You hear me?
I hear you, partner. What's going on?
All right, yeah. I was just listening really quick, man. I don't think it's fair to categorize Jalen Hurts in the same breath as guys like Brock Purdy and Tua, guys who haven't done anything yet. And really quick, I heard somebody say, if you take A.J. Brown away, Devontae Smith, does he elevate the play? Well, 2020, they won 4 games. He comes in the next year, first-year starter, with a middle-of-the-road defense. Quez Watkins, Jalen Reagor, and rookie Devontae Smith, and took them to the playoffs. Next year, they get A.J. Brown, they go to the Super Bowl. He's Super Bowl MVP, or excuse me, runner-up MVP of the league. So I know we're down here in Florida. I'm a Philly guy, so I'm just a fanatic. But
right,
yeah, I gotta support my boy Jalen here. I don't think he gets enough love because of the team around him.
Yeah, and Mikey, absolutely. Listen, I'm not downplaying Hurts' play in the Super Bowl. Outside of the fading away interception that he had early on in the first half, he damn near played perfect. Now, you're not willing to give Purdy some flowers for going to a Super Bowl and taking Patrick Mahomes to overtime 2 years ago.
No. Absolutely, I am. Brock Purdy is perfect for where he's at. I don't think Brock Purdy could go somewhere else. I mean, you can't play these what-if games, but he is where he is, and he's done what he's done. So he deserves the money he got.
Mikey, you're not a system guy. You hate that term. You hate that term for quarterbacks.
I hate that term, and let me tell you something really quick, brother. So Jalen Hurts has had 12 different play callers the last 10 years. Does that mean he is the system?
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. And Mikey obviously is dating back to his time in college, going to the Sooners and Alabama. Mike, how thrilled are you for a possible repeat for the Eagles next year?
I am very thrilled. I know they got a tough schedule. They don't have any back-to-back home games. Gardner Johnson, big loss. I mean, we'll see, man. They just got to stay healthy. If they stay healthy, I think the only team that really comes in and gives them a run for the money is L.A. I think they got better with Devontae Adams and whatnot. But, yeah, if they stay healthy, I feel really optimistic.
Now, Mike, what about the Cowboys? They're in your division, bitter rivals. If they stay healthy, can they give you guys a run in that division?
Well, let me ask you a question. Do you trust Dak Prescott in January?
Listen. Not in January, but I certainly trust him to at least win 10 games and give you guys a scare throughout the regular season, no?
No, I get that. I mean, listen, you already know he's going to beat the Giants twice. And, don't be around. I don't think Dallas is going anywhere.
No, hang on. Maybe Brian Schottenheimer is the answer I needed. Mikey, I appreciate the call. Appreciate you listening, brother. Thank you.
Any time. We need a Philly guy on Russo and Theoretically Speaking.
Yeah, we. I don't think we have a Philly guy. He could be quote. Now Jeff Greenwald, one of our partners here, our MCs here at ESPN West Palm and Good Karma Brands, he is a Philly guy. And John O'Terry is
those are off the air. We need people. We need representation from Philly. Because
I forgot. John.
When I went to school in Pennsylvania, it made me grow a dissension towards the Philadelphia fan base. So I sometimes stick the knife in the side of that fan base more than I should. There's something deep inside that I'm trying to expel.
Is a Philadelphia cheesesteak overrated in Philadelphia, Christian?
No. Very good. Okay. Nothing against the food.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
That's where we draw the line.
That's where we draw the line.
When we're talking about sports, we're in the sandbox.
And I've never been to Philly. So I'm looking forward to the day I get to go and have a cheesesteak because I asked you kids the other day, where does a cheesesteak tier out on sub sandwiches? It's number one for me. You guys said Italian sandwiches, and trust me, love me a good Italian sandwich. Put those sweet red peppers on there too. Oh, God.
So I guess any sandwich that's served on a sub or a hoagie roll, that's what you're saying?
Yeah, hoagie style. Dagwood.
Yeah, because other options are like a chicken cutlet sandwich.
Oh, chicken parm, dude.
Yeah. You also
veal parm sandwich.
I don't know what that means. What's the bird whistle? What's happening when you have something tasty?
It's hot. When dude, back in the day, the old construction work.
Oh,
when a girl would walk by,
you're cat calling the chicken
parm
sandwich.
Correct.
I see now
because it's hot. It's sexy. A chicken parm sandwich is hot and sexy. A veal parm sandwich is hot and sexy. Yes,
you've been doing that for a couple of weeks now. I don't know if you put it away in the shelf and then took it out. And I you've lost me for. I'm glad I asked the question.
Yes, for sure. But yeah, I just picture me in the 1940s construction worker. It's Blake Bortles says ripping cigs working construction. And a pretty lady walks by.
That the pretty lady is a chicken parm sandwich.
Correct.
I'm not a meatball sandwich guy.
No, I'm not either.
What's the point?
I'm not. Very overrated. I'm with you there. I am. And I would drive my buddies crazy. I drive them nuts because there was a thing at Ohio State called Grab and Go, and they would always give meatball sandwiches. I'd look at them like they're crazy. They go, Riz, you are one of the most Italian people, Sicilian people we know, and you don't do meatballs on a sandwich. I said, no. I'd rather have a chicken parm sandwich.
Weird. It's back-to-back days where we have a parallel experience because one of the spots downtown where I went to college, it was also $3 meatball sandwich, full ones. We're not talking the half, the 6 inchers. No, a 12-inch meatball sandwich for $3 on Mondays. everyone would take advantage. Except for me. I was like, no, thank you. And you know me, I like to get a deal.
Oh,
I go for the BOGOs, I go for the bargains, I go for the specialties by the day, except for meatball sandwiches.
Christian's cutting out coupons like my grandmother back in the late 90s and early 2000s.
Like 35% of the storage on my phone is dedicated to like restaurants apps. To get the push notifications on.
Folks, we're tiering quarterbacks. 888-760-3776 is that Baptist Health Hotline. Is the term system guy fair when it comes to quarterbacks within the NFL? Talking a lot of NFL on Theoretically Speaking today. We're going to take our second time out, but when we come back, we're going to do a get around where we go state to state, check out the biggest stories within each respectable state. So the get around with Christian Cat coming up next, Mike Rizzo, and the aforementioned Christian Cat, Theoretically Speaking on ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
Get this. Joey and me were supposed to go to this concert next week, right? But then something terrible happened. Joey was driving without a seatbelt. But he didn't wreck. No, he got pulled over. Now Joey has to pay for a seatbelt ticket instead of a concert ticket, and I have to go by myself. How lame is that? So Joey, if you're out there, you're an idiot. Wear your seatbelt or you'll get a ticket.
All across the country, cops are cracking down. Click it or ticket, day and night.
Funded by the Florida Department of Transportation.
When you're in pain and an hour seems like a day seems like a month, there's only one place to go for your treatment. Pain Care Florida. Our pain management specialists have the knowledge and experience in state-of-the-art procedures to relieve pain and get you moving. Time waits for no one, especially when you're in pain. Visit paincareflorida.com. Pain Care Florida. Stop hurting, start living today.
The school district of Palm Beach County is your best choice.
It's time to step into kindergarten. Parents, the School District of Palm Beach County is now enrolling kindergarten students. All incoming students receive a free kindergarten readiness kit to help practice reading and math this summer. Register now at palmbeachschools.org/kindergarten. That's palmbeachschools.org/kindergarten.
For 48 straight years, Ford F-Series have been the best-selling trucks in America. We got here by engineering breakthrough technology, redefining Built Ford Tough, and never settling for second best. But what's really made Ford F-Series the #1 selling trucks in America is you. Ford F-Series, Built Ford Tough. Based on 1977 to 2024 calendar year total sales.
This is the Inter Miami save of the game.
Ian Frey could not make a defensive play on the run. Angulo into the box, cuts it back to his right foot. Ustaria's save with his left hand off balance, sprawling, and he's able to cut it down to the top of the 6-yard area. There's Orlando City's first shot on target.
Brought to you by PNC Bank. PNC Bank, brilliantly boring since 1865.
Hey, Steph Prince here, General Manager of ESPN West Palm, to tell you about a team that has meant a lot to me and this community for a long time. Bob and the team at Bradley Heating and Air Conditioning have been helping me stay cool for years, whether at home or in the office. And living in South Florida with 3 kids, I don't know what I'd do without them. Family owned and operated, serving Royal Palm Beach and beyond since 1980. Let the knowledgeable and trained team at Bradley help you with your residential and commercial needs, installation, repair, seasonal maintenance, upgrades of all makes and styles and models of HVAC equipment, and so much more. Bradley Heating and Air Conditioning does things right the first time and makes the process smooth, stress-free, and most importantly, keeps you cool. Give them a call at 561-793-7497. That's 561-793-7497 or bradleyair.com. Any need, big or small, trust the amazing team at Bradley Heating and Air Conditioning.
Business owners, are your employees driving you nuts? Is money tight? Or have you just poured your heart and soul into your business and now it's time to retire and just relax? At Transworld Business Advisors, they have buyers from all over the world ready to buy your business now. Call for a confidential conversation about your business's current value. 561-203-5121. That's 561-203-5121 or visit tworld.com today.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios, Theo Dorsey is Theoretically Speaking. Streaming live on YouTube, here's Theo Dorsey.
Mike Rizzo filling in for Theo Dorsey. Christian Cat behind the glass here at the City Place Studios. We are streaming live on YouTube, Twitter/X, and Facebook at ESPN West Palm. You can find us on that radio dial, 106.3 FM. And on that ESPN app, go to Listen Live, scroll all the way down to us at ESPN West Palm. Christian, it's time to do the Get Around where we jump around state to state and check out some of the biggest sports stories we got going on.
I get around. What you mean you don't know? Round and round. Check go. I get around.
Yes, Mike, that's right. It is the Get Around.
Next stop.
And we're stopping in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, because it's the story that just keeps on giving. According to the New York Times article, Jordan Hudson has told at least one person that she and Bill Belichick are engaged to be married. The love story that just keeps on giving. Rizzo, what are your takeaways from the past 4 months where we've seen Bill Belichick become kind of a punchline in sports talk media, not because of anything on the field at all. It's all off the field stuff, and it's all what people are saying about him.
It's one of the strangest things I've seen in a long time. Now, I read an article yesterday on ESPN.com. It was from David Hale. Really good article about how Bill Belichick addressed the Jordan Hudson situation with North Carolina players. And Belichick said in a SportsCenter interview, really off to the side, it's a personal relationship and she doesn't have anything to do with football. And more or less, he reassured that to the team. Christian, I mentioned to you and Colin Russo before, it's like, I'm kind of worried. Like, this situation has me worried some with the way that they handled that CBS interview. And listen, the Mad Dog, Chris Russo, Doggy, he lit up ABC the other day, and I kind of agreed with them with the way that they handled some of their business on that interview. Everyone has an opinion on it. I am more of the person that's worried for Bill. You know, is there a way that she might have some possible dirt? I mean, Christian, I'm not ruling anything out. God forbid that's the case. But, like, I don't know. I don't know what to think at this point because it's been so hush, closed door. And they have turned this into something. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, they have turned this into my speculations of, well, I mean, is Bill all right? They've turned it into that.
It's funny because, listen, the concept of a 70-year-old rich man dating and now engaging to marry a 20-year-old attractive female, we're not breaking any news that this happens in the world. The thing is, though, people have got invested interest in football, in sports, in Bill Belichick, the greatest football coach of all time, who happens to still be doing it. So I think people are just wondering where your priorities are lying right now.
With these situations, like, you know, the people come out and be like, yeah, we met here, we did this. They're not even talking about where they met. They can't. They're shutting down interviews because they don't want to talk about how they met and how they even know each other. It's weird. It's very weird, Christian.
Next stop.
Let's stay in college football, but head north to South Bend, Indiana. The annual rivalry matchup between Notre Dame and USC could be in jeopardy, believe it or not. Yeah, the two schools are currently unable to make an agreement beyond the 2025 football season. Notre Dame wants a long-term deal. They want to keep this rivalry alive as long as possible, but the University of Southern California, they only want a one-year extension, citing they worry about the changes in the college football playoff and how that might alter things, and the travel. Remember, USC plays in the Big Ten. That's another trip they got to take all the way up north.
I understand what USC's doing here. They don't want to play another good team. I mean, let's call for it. If you go undefeated in the Big Ten, you're going to get an invite to the Big Ten championship. And I know the Big Ten schedule has nothing to do with, the schedule out of conference schedule, but I just don't think USC wants another good team on the schedule, hence another opportunity to lose a football game. That's my 2 cents on it. Notre Dame obviously wants to play USC because they want to keep bolstering their schedule as an independent. USC, with what we think is going to be a top-tier program within the next couple of years with Lincoln Riley within the Big Ten. I know it hasn't turned into that, Christian. I know it necessarily hasn't turned into that yet, but Lincoln Riley's got a great recruiting class this year. They lost a lot in the transfer portal, but things seem to be turning around this offseason for USC. It's a big year coming up for Lincoln Riley. My 2 cents is USC doesn't want another good team on the schedule, hence another possible loss and maybe being out of the college football playoff. And Notre Dame is trying to bolster that schedule because they refuse to join a conference.
Is there a non-conference? It's hard to discover who is non-conference matchups now with all the realignment.
Right.
With West Coast teams in the Big Ten and SEC teams recruiting from everywhere. Is there a non-conference home and home or every single year game that is not happening right now that you would like to see happen? Because there's one that comes to mind for me.
Go ahead.
I'm a Penn State football fan, so I want Notre Dame, Penn State. I think that those two fan bases and those two historical powers that aren't... I love what I saw, of course, in the college football playoff. I wish that would be an every single year thing because both fan bases would love to travel to either road games from either side. I think that would be fun.
Christian,
you have one that comes to mind?
Let me give you something better. Do you want to know what I want?
What?
I want the Big Ten and the USC. I want the Big Ten and the SEC to exclusively play each other at least one game a year.
That'd be fun. Almost like a college basketball tournament where you see that show up in the random New York City arena.
Right.
Except it's a weekend where on week 2, it's all Big Ten SEC challenge.
And every year, you alter, some years you play Mississippi State, the other year you're playing mighty Alabama. Like I listen, I know the logistics of that is crazy and the schedule game, it's all about dollars and conferences and whatnot. But if we took all that out, I would like to do that because those are the two conferences people want to see. Let's, with all due respect to the Big 12, the ACC, the teams people want to see are the Big Ten teams and the SEC teams.
That's the power struggle. Who is reigning supreme? You have these back-to-back national championships for the Big Ten, but you kind of have the SEC leading the way in terms of teams that are ranked inside the top 25. Ooh, that'd be nice.
The power heavy, top heavy teams in the Big Ten right now. The Ohio States, the Penn States, the Oregons. It's up. I think the top teams in the Big Ten are better than the top teams in the SEC. But as a conference in general, going on the road to Kentucky is a lot harder than going on the road, with all due respect, to Maryland or Rutgers.
Yeah, and that flipped, too. Remember the years where the SEC was pretty much being carried by Alabama national championships, and then they turned that over to Georgia national championships.
Vanderbilt is the perfect example. They were terrible at football. Like, Jay Cutler was good at Vanderbilt. That was 2 decades ago. You know what I mean? Like, Vanderbilt recently started turning it around within the SEC. I think, obviously Coach Stoops at Kentucky has really turned that program around. I know they didn't necessarily win a lot of games last year, but it's tough games. Every game in the SEC is a tough game. Can't say that about the Big Ten, but what I will say about the Big Ten as a Big Ten homer, Ohio State, Oregon, Penn State, the top-heavy teams are really good. Let's see if Michigan can get back to that top team, Christian, because they were terrible last year, but they are my boogeyman because I'm a Buckeye fan.
Next stop.
We are stopping not in the city, but in the backyard of a random Chicago suburb. Because All American Rejects, are you familiar with them by name at all?
Hang on. All the small things.
No, not quite.
Okay, but
one more try.
All American Rejects, no.
Well,
Give me a song. I know a song. I know them.
This is Move Along by All American Rejects. That kind of sounds like a banjo.
Hang on. Yeah. This was in Madden. I think that was in Madden.
I think it was.
I think it was in Madden.
It also has a bunch of other songs as well.
Whoa! No?
No, that sounds like a soccer chant. But the reason why we're going to the random backyard of a Chicago suburb, All American Rejects, they are doing this thing called a house party tour, where fans of that band can go to their Instagram, fill out a link, and then All American Rejects just shows up at your house party. My question for you, Mike Rizzo, is what's a band that you would want to see at a house party setting going crazy like it's 2003 or you're in the movie Project X?
Give me the Killers, man.
Okay.
I loved it. Like, truly a millennial where I grew up listening to gangster rap, punk rock, that kind of rock, you know what I mean? The Killers kind of rock. Christian, my go-to karaoke song is When You Were Young by the Killers. Absolutely love that song. Absolutely love it. So if I had to go, like, in a backyard setting, like, Eminem would be cool. But, like, if I'm staying on par with a band, give me the Killers, mate. Give me the Killers.
Next stop.
We're going to Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. There's a basketball game tonight.
Yeah.
You know about that?
Yeah. I've been talking NFL for the first hour, so yes, but we do know there's a basketball tonight.
The Thunder host the Timberwolves, game 1 of the Western Conference Finals. Mike, my question for you is, when was the last time you remember a Western Conference Finals that did not have a team from Texas or California in it?
I know the answer because I was listening to Clinton and Friends this morning. Shout out my buddy Clinton Yates. It's been 30 years. It's been 30 years.
1996, to be exact, was the last time. My question also for you, Mike. Rank for me the possible NBA Finals matchups we could have in terms of your interest level. You only got 4 options with 4 teams remaining because some people are kind of disappointed you don't have the Lakers in there or the Warriors in there, those established names. What would be most interesting for you in terms of NBA Finals matchups?
So my top 2 all have the New York team in it. Christian, you're a huge fan of the New York Yankees. You're not necessarily a fan of the basketball there, but you know that I can't stand New York sports. This is the first time I'm hitching my wagon to a New York team. Listen, when it comes to basketball in that city, they've been tortured. Give New York a championship this year. Just give it to them. It's their year, right? Obviously, you got to win on the court. But the best possible thing and that's what I want. I want the best possible thing for the NBA. Too many times I've critiqued the NBA and everyone else has critiqued the NBA, why people aren't watching. This would be the best story possible, in my opinion, is probably Knicks versus Minnesota. You have Anthony Edwards, probably the biggest star left in the NBA playoffs. It's probably a little unfair to maybe a guy like Jalen Brunson and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, but everyone's trying to make Ant the next face of the league. So my number 1 matchup would be Knicks and Minnesota. After that, Knicks and Oklahoma City, followed by the rest in no particular order. You know what I mean? I couldn't care less about Indiana. I hope Indiana gets swept. I can't stand that team.
There's that trade that was made right before the season with Karl Anthony Towns and Julius Randle. So that would be really cool to see that come to fruition where both teams won the trade, and now we see who truly actually gets the last laugh. Because it feels like half the fun in the NBA is punching down and laughing at a team that was eliminated. But neither side can do that quite yet. We get to see if they make it to the finals.
Does anyone want to see an Indiana, Oklahoma City? Anybody?
No.
Nobody does. Actually, I know who does. My buddy I do 4 to 6 with, Colin Russo, wants an Indiana, Oklahoma City. Outside of Colin, I don't know anybody who wants an Indiana and Oklahoma City NBA final.
That's been a New York Major 4 championship win since like the Giants.
And listen, this isn't Christian.
2012.
This isn't a spoiled Yankee fan we're talking about. This isn't a delusional Met fan we're talking about. This isn't a blue-blooded Giant fan who got 2 championships with Eli Manning. This is a miserable New York basketball fan. I know the Nets is technically New York now and Brooklyn. They were New Jersey forever. But like at the same time, the Nets are terrible. That's a toilet bowl franchise, with all due respect to the owner of that team.
That doesn't feel like
It's a toilet bowl franchise.
With all due respect.
They ruined that Russian guy ruined the franchise when he traded everything for Pierce and Garnett and Jason Terry. They haven't been the same since. Give New York their basketball championship. Just give it to them.
That's a good round.
Okay. Folks, when we come back, hour number 2 of Theoretically Speaking, we'll get into a little bit of that NBA. I got an NBA question to pose to Christian and the fans out there as well. And I want to have a little fun, too. Couple of things. Christian had a funny food story, and I have a story about possibly running out of gas. All of this coming up in hour number 2, Theoretically Speaking. Mike Rizzo filling in for Theo Dorsey, Christian Cat behind the glass on ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
Is your air or water flowing perfectly in your home? If the answer is no, EDS is yes. Theo here, and for me, EDS Air Conditioning and Plumbing is my go-to, and it should be yours too. EDS is Palm Beach County's trusted AC and plumbing expert. They'll make sure your air and water flow perfectly. EDS is a train comfort specialist. It's hard to stop a train. Go to edsisyes.com. That's edsisyes.com. When comfort matters, EDS is yes.
Anajar and Levine.
Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
ESPN 106.3.
WESP Jupiter, a Good Karma Brands radio station.
ESPN 106.3 is your home for live sports presented by Hard Rock Bet. Home of the Miami Heat, now the new home of Inter Miami. Catch all the games and the biggest matchups throughout the week right here on ESPN 106.3. Hard Rock Bet, it's Florida's official sports book. Try Hard Rock Bet now and receive up to $100 back in bonus bets if your first bet does not win. Hard Rock Bet, roll with us. It's offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida the wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling, call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
Hi, it's Evan Cohen from Unsportsmanlike. 3 teams wore alternate jerseys last week. All 3 lost. Coincidence? Or is this the start of something sinister? We're connecting the dots and possibly inventing some. ESPN 106.3.
ESPN 106.3 congratulates the Kaiser Seahawks men's tennis team for their first ever national championship. It's national title number 26 for Kaiser Athletics. Get more info at KUSeahawks.com and here on ESPN 106.3, the home of Kaiser Athletics.
What would you do with an extra $700? You can earn up to $700 per year with Boost Checking from Flagler Credit Union. Boost Checking pays 7.0 annual percentage yield on balances up to $10,000. That's up to $700 extra to do what you love. Boost Checking from Flagler Credit Union. Requirements apply to earn the highest dividend rates. Limit 1 checking account per membership. Dividend rates and annual percentage yield subject to change. Business accounts do not qualify. Insured by NCUA, proud partner of Florida Atlantic University Athletics.
As market dynamics change, the quality and service you receive from your accounting firm shouldn't. Partner-owned since 1923, Anshin Accountants and Advisors take the time to get to know you and your unique circumstances to help resolve complex issues and develop innovative tax and accounting solutions tailored to meet your goals. If you're a high net worth individual or business owner eager for a strategy to maximize tax savings, let Anshin deliver value where others can't. Visit ANCHIN.com. Anshin Accountants and Advisors, recalculating what's possible.
Introducing the bold, the powerful, the all-new 2025 Range Rover Sport P530 Dynamic SE. A luxury SUV that commands attention with its refined design, dynamic performance, and cutting-edge technology. Lease the 2025 Range Rover Sport for just $15.29 per month for 36 months. Drive in style, power, and comfort, all for just $15.29 a month. Visit Land Rover Palm Beach today and take the new Range Rover Sport for a spin. Terms and conditions apply. See dealer for details.
The Club at Lost Lake, a championship Fazio design golf course in Hope Sound. Golf and social memberships are now available with no waiting list and immediate access. The course and club will see over $10 million in capital improvements and is one of the best private club values in the area. Experience the beauty and challenge of this renowned course for yourself. Enjoy year-round access to exclusive amenities and events. Elevate your game, elevate your experience. Discover the Club at Lost Lake. Visit clublostlake.com to schedule a visit today.
Calling all sports fans, grab your MVP card and head to Duffy's where you can catch all of the action. Not an MVP? Sign up for free and start earning rewards today. Duffy's is voted the best sports grill year after year with their award-winning burgers and wings. Don't forget about Duffy's famous 2-for-1 drinks all day, every day. And with over 80 TVs in every location, you'll never miss a minute of the game. Visit Duffy'sMVP.com to learn more. Duffy's, our game is always on.
Hi, it's Evan Cohen from Unsportsmanlike. Tonight, the Stanley Cup Eastern Conference Final begins with Game 1. It's the Panthers and the Hurricanes. Coverage begins at 7:30 here on your home for the Stanley Cup Playoffs, ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios.
The man your man could smell.
Theo Dorsey is theoretically speaking.
But are you a different animal and the same beast?
Streaming live on YouTube.
You're gonna break up with me because of what I do on the radio?
Here's Theo Dorsey.
You know, Christian, it is taking everything out of me to not scream good people every time I hear that open. Because every time I hear that open, I just hear Theo in my head screaming good people. But folks, you know Theo Dorsey, Mike Rizzo, filling in for Theo Dorsey. Theo and his lovely wife are gallivanting the countryside of France, from what I've told from Christian Cat. Speaking of Christian Cat, he is behind the glass. His usual duties, co-hosting and producing. You can listen to us live on YouTube. You can watch us live on YouTube too at ESPN West Palm, Twitter/X, Facebook, the radio dial, 106.3 FM, that ESPN app. Listen live and scroll down to ESPN West Palm. Christian mentioned we do have an NBA game tonight. It was weird last night, not really having NHL, not having NBA. I watched a lot of the anime I'm watching. I watched a lot of One Piece last night. I really did. I had MLB Big Inning on the side, and I was really locked into my TV show I've been watching last night.
Yeah, my Yankees were off. Yeah. So it was tough. It was like, this is the one day where I can truly devote 100% of my attention on the New York Yankees, and they had a travel day.
So, Christian, it's National Streaming Day. What are you watching?
National Streaming Day?
Yeah, it's National Streaming Day. What TV show are you watching?
I'm heads deep into Lost. I am watching them gallivant, as you use that word for Theo, across Europe. I am watching Kate, Jack, Sawyer in the game, and the gang gallivant across that island.
So, season 3?
I am in, guessed correctly.
Season 3-ish. I remember you brought it up to Colin and I about a week ago. You're end of season 2-ish. Dude, I love that whole show. It is fantastic. John Locke, one of my favorite TV characters ever. His backstory, one of my favorite stories ever.
You know what really, really grinds my gears?
What grinds your gears?
You look at how many episodes of that hour-long TV show they have in one season. It's 24 or 25.
Right.
And then you look at the release dates of these episodes and the gap between season 1 and season 2.
It's cruel.
It's less than the gap in like an NBA offseason. It's less than a gap between a Major League Baseball offseason. It's a 3-month gap.
Dude.
It's a 3-month gap. And yet they still can do 25-hour episodes. What's happening now? Why can't we do this? And that wasn't an easy sitcom where everything takes place at the bar Cheers. No, they're on a deserted island. How can we stomach 2 years between seasons of TV shows when technology has gotten better and people are watching more than they ever have?
I am the guy who lets it end now. I just let it end. I have to binge it. I have to binge it.
Oh, so like you don't do the weekly, like people were watching Severance?
I say that, but the show I didn't do it with was Andor. And that's my answer to this, by the way. But Andor, they dropped 3 episodes when they announced that they were dropping the episodes, they went 3 episodes 1 week, 3 episodes. So they did 4 straight weeks of dropping 3 episodes. So you were able to watch 3, and then it's like, all right, I got to wait for the next 3 next week. That wasn't bad at all. I think maybe that's how we need to do this, because that's the halfway point. I am a millennial, and I need to watch everything now. And I know there are people out there, like my father and mother, that grew up where you had to be in front of the television in order to watch it. So, that's meeting it halfway. 3 episodes, you're not giving it all away that week, but at the same time, I'm getting my fix.
But I've got great family memories of sitting in front of the television watching Joe Rogan's Fear Factor and watching Lost and watching these there's no such thing as appointment television anymore. It's appointment sports television. Because that's the only thing you can watch live and in person for the first time ever with a shared experience of everyone who's also interested. Because, listen, when are they going to release Stranger Things? It's been like 3 years.
Yeah, I watched that. So I was in Peoria 3 years. That was my first year in Peoria, was the last Stranger Things season. It was my first year there. I've been through 2 jobs since then, to that point. Wow.
You lose investment in these people, in these characters, when you put gaps on television seasons. It's ridiculous.
And now, like, Christian, rewatch, like, One Piece is an anime that's still going on, but it's been going on since, like, 2002. Dude, the gaps between the seasons are nuts. Like, I can't imagine watching, like, some of these arcs. We call them arcs, and like, you know, like, and these arcs lasted 3 years, brother. And each episode, like, they'll drop an episode, and it'd be the same fight for a year. He'd be fighting the same guy for a year. It's like, my God, when is this going to end? When is this fight ever going to end?
Wait, so you're not waiting for more episodes for years, but you're just mad that a storyline's taking too long?
But, like, at that point, like, if you're watching it on a week-to-week basis, like, me that I get to binge watch it, it's great. You know what I mean? But, like, if you're watching it on a week-to-week basis, it's like, my God, when's this fight going to end? When are we moving on to the next thing?
But could you imagine? So you know how, like, there's just years between the Game of Thrones seasons and years between Stranger Things? Could you imagine if there were years between seasons of sports leagues? Yeah. Like, okay, Eagles win the Super Bowl. Well, see ya in 2028. Like, what? Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, we're just not going to have NFL football next year.
We got to shoot the whole season, and then we air it on Sundays on NFL Red Zone.
It's like these games, unless you're there, Christian, unless you're there in attendance, and word of mouth obviously would spread.
We got to sign NDAs. We'll be watching you. Like, you cannot open your trap.
You have no idea how this season of the NFL ends. You have no idea if your favorite team is going to the playoffs and or wins a championship. Crazy.
It is crazy. And Marvel did the thing where it was essentially, as you complained about it, a long arc, a long storyline in the show that you were watching, where it was like, 2007 until 2018 or 2019, where the Avengers kind of opened up and shut with Endgame.
Yep.
That worked. People got involved and invested in that, even though there was a full year between movies, a year and a half between those last 2 Avengers movies. But it's not working for me in TV shows, man.
No. And we're spoiled.
Yeah.
We're absolutely spoiled with the now factor. Like, how I wish they just did it. Release it all. Like, you're filming all the episodes anyway. No need to go week to week. Brother, just release it all. I promise you it'll be fine.
I don't know. I
promise
feel
you
like
it'll be fine. Release them all. Like, I'm trying to think what the TV show I just got done watching that, by the way, everyone agrees with. Like, the audience level, that's what I judge on Rotten Tomatoes. Couldn't care less what these idiot movie could. They don't know what the hell they're talking about anyway. The audience level is what I judge on. Other fans watching it. Dude, Andor got it was like the first TV show ever to get 90 and above on every single episode.
So this is Star Wars?
Yes. Very good. Unbelievable, very good. Like, outside looking in, you barely even need to watch any Star Wars content to have fun with this.
Okay. Huh.
You do. Like, you really don't need to watch any of it. It's a story within Star Wars. The Star Wars that I like, Christian, the problem is when people that are writing Star Wars have to have an original thought, because it's terrible. For some reason, the people have to come up, the creative team and the people that have to come up with an original thought on the Star Wars side is terrible. They can't do it. But when you give someone guidelines, hey, it's part of this story that George Lucas wrote, go crazy with what, and that's what this was.
Well, that was the problem with
that's what this was. Rogue One. This show leads into the movie called Rogue One. Rogue One is a sub movie based off of A New Hope. The plans that Princess Leia gives R2-D2 to deliver to Obi-Wan Kenobi, those are the plans that the people in Rogue One steal from the planet, and it's you know what I mean? You're giving them guidelines.
Yeah.
You're giving them guidelines. When you give someone creative reign to go, hey, it's a Star Wars verse, go crazy, that's when you get things like The Acolyte. That's when you get things...
We don't talk about The Acolyte, do we?
Oh, Christian. One of the biggest disgraces in film history. Star Wars Acolyte.
I haven't watched a lick of it. I tried to watch. I watched the first Star Wars movie and the second half of it, and I fell asleep, and I've never retried to watch any Star Wars media.
That's when you get Rian Johnson creating the worst Star Wars movie ever and starting the trickle-down effect to Disney.
I guess
now I'm getting too into it.
I can relate to the problem of the movies being really bad when they have no basis, because that's what happened with Game of Thrones, right?
Yeah,
Once
correct.
the people that
Correct.
were making the show Game of Thrones caught up to the books, and then had to figure it out from there, they couldn't do it. They couldn't land the ship.
Miserable. You tell I'm angry, brother. But yes, folks, National Streaming Day. If you want to chime in, 888-760-3776. Christian's watching Lost. I just got done with Andor, man. And I can't tell you enough how great it is. I know I just really went crazy there on new Star Wars or whatever, but this show is great.
New Squid Game coming out soon, I think.
Yeah, and that's another one that I'm really into. I really like that show. And I'm not one for watching one with subtitles. I'm the crazy anime watcher that'll wait for the dub episodes. I watch that sub. I do.
Yeah, in late June, which is a really quick turnaround.
Yep.
Because, I don't want to spoil anything in the show, but yeah.
Yeah, no. Andrew on the YouTube line says, Riz, you need to give Thunderbolts a chance. I'm boycotting Marvel.
Marvel as a whole.
It's another one of those things where they haven't come out with good content in years, and it's like, I loved the Marvel I grew up with. To your point, the Endgame saga, the Christopher Russo, the Russo brothers, Infinity War.
Yeah.
Like, dude, unbelievable.
I am Iron Man, baby.
Some of the best superhero content to ever come out on the planet, comic books included, were those 12 years of Captain America, Iron Man, and all of the sub-stories within it. They did a fantastic job with that. After Loki season 2, they lost me. And then they tried to get into this Kang the Conqueror arc, and then they had to fire Kang the Conqueror.
Yeah, he was a good actor. He got in trouble,
He
though,
did.
right?
He got in trouble, and listen, obviously I'm not sitting here blaming Marvel for firing the guy, but what I'm saying is there was no direction on any of those stories. Any of them. And it's just slop.
So
all they do is release slop.
So you're a DC guy now, because I know those dorks got to pick one or the other.
Oh, yeah. I'm a big DC guy. Big. The Penguin TV show was unbelievable.
That's true. I heard good things about that.
Unbelievable.
Did you watch Joker Foyadou?
Joker Foyadou? I thought Theo was on vacation in France. No, I did not. I did not.
See, it's funny. I
Is
like
that on HBO?
Probably. It's also called HBO Max now.
Okay, is that on HBO Max?
No. Yeah, I think it probably is. But yeah, that was news out of last week. They changed Max back to HBO Max.
Okay.
2 years after changing HBO Max to Max.
Sneaky good DC TV show on Max. Titans.
That Teen Titans?
It's let's put it this way. It's live action Titans. It's dark.
I don't even know,
very dark.
I don't know what non-live action Titans are. Like Teen Titans?
It's that, but live action and dark.
Like the Cyborg guy, and you've got Robin.
He's not in it, but Robin's in it, and a plethora of those characters are in it. Really good. If you're into Christian, if you're into the whole DC verse, give Titans a chance. My buddy Gomer got me on it. Unbelievable.
Well, yeah, they got the new the Superman movies coming out, so people are going to start trying to give another look to it.
Christian, can I be honest with you? I'm worried.
Yeah, the
about
trailer
that.
is
I'm
like
really
him getting
worried
interviewed
about
by
that.
Lois Lane.
There is never, I can't tell you what the last good superhero movie was like when it was black and white. I feel like, am I wrong on that?
For
Superman in general, the last good Superman content. I can't even think of a video game that was good.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like the Super Bowl, the Superman. You could tell I'm a sports guy. The Superman content has not been good. It really hasn't.
I'm trying to think. I tried. I watched everything in order. I tried to do the Marvel thing with DC for Batman versus Superman, all that stuff, and then the Justice League, and then Zack Snyder's The Justice League, which just a darker version of the Justice League, and I never got hooked. You're right. I tried hard.
Yep.
I like Batman. I gave a chance on a post. What's the guy's name? Batman with the. I love Ben Affleck, so that was cool. But you're right. It's been bad.
I just like the Batman versus Superman was terrible. Now I'm not a Ben Affleck guy. Good writer. I'm not necessarily a Ben Affleck actor. And I thought that Batman was a disgrace. And that Batman was after Christian Bale, so that was like filling.
That's what I was thinking of. Yeah,
right. Heavy shoes.
People love that trilogy,
dude. It's the best ever. It's the best superhero. It's the best superhero stuff ever. No, how isn't it?
Yeah, you're right, because it lives outside of Super Bowl.
I keep saying Super Bowl, too.
It lives outside of, like, if you're not a superhero movie fan, you can still watch The Dark Knight and be like, yeah, this is a awesome movie.
Yes. And there are rarely, like, movie critics who are, like, looking, like, the choreography and all the garbage that goes along with it. Me, I'm just trying to see a good story. But, like, even those movie critics agree that Dark Knight and even Dark Knight Rising, unbelievable set of cinema.
Want to get too inside? I like the score they use for that. Where where they're ramping up the intensity, and you feel like a high pitch coming. And when they're introducing the Joker, or they're introducing.
No, and the one what you're talking about is when the Joker makes Batman choose who to save, if it's Rachel Dawes or Harvey Dent. And remember, he throws, and to that point, it's the that's like where that's peak that sound, because he lied. Batman goes after what he thinks is Rachel Dawes, turns out to be Harvey Dent, and all the policemen, obviously, they're not going to get there as fast as Batman does, so that person's going to die. That was Rachel Dawes. Can I have one gripe about that movie? My one gripe, and it's so ticky-tack.
About The Dark Knight.
About The Dark Knight. Why did they do Gyllenhaal's sister for that role? She didn't fit that role, man. I got to be honest.
Are you bouncing around the Stephen A. opinion about how he didn't think she was attractive enough for that role?
Is that a thing?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
I'll pull it up for you now. So why didn't you want Maggie Gyllenhaal?
Please, I just do, like, the girl in the first one was great. In Dark Knight, was it Batman Returns?
Batman Begins.
Yes. She was, why didn't they bring her back? Was there a dispute with the contract? I don't know. Maybe subconsciously I am with Stephen. I feel like that's such a terrible thing to say. You know what I mean? That's such a horrible thing to say, that she wasn't pretty enough. But, like, I don't know. I just don't think she fit the role. I don't think it has anything to do with how pretty she was. I don't think she's a very good actor. Granted, I know this is I know this is like a superhero movie. I'm not looking for, a Leonardo DiCaprio Titanic performance. By the way, should have won an Oscar for that. Ridiculous, or a Golden Globe, whatever the hell they call him. Well, ridiculous that he didn't win an Academy Award for the Titanic back in the day. But do we have sound of anything? Do we have the high-pitched noise? Do we have any of this?
The problem is with the Stephen A. It's 3
he
minutes
swears?
long.
Oh, okay. We can't find it.
It's on First Take when it was Skip and Stephen A.
Stephen A. still had a hairline, is what you're telling me.
He sure did. It was back to grassroots First Take. When we take a break, we'll come back with it.
Okay.
It's an all-time classic ESPN moment that you simply cannot go without hearing.
All right, so we'll hear that when we come back. Christian told me a story the other day about sending food back. I want to get into that a little bit. And we got NBA Western Conference Finals coming up too. We'll hit that in the last segment, folks. This is Theoretically Speaking. Mike Rizzo filling in for Theo. Christian Cat behind the glass on ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZQuil.
ZQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZQuil nights. Explore our products at ZQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Hi, it's Evan Cohen from Unsportsmanlike. Tonight, the Stanley Cup Eastern Conference Final begins with Game 1. It's the Panthers and the Hurricanes. Coverage begins at 7:30 here on your home for the Stanley Cup Playoffs, ESPN 106.3.
Progressive knows when you're in your RV, you're already on vacation. That's when you become Vacation You, who just camped where there's absolutely no shade. Even though regular you burns easily. In fact, Vacation You burns too, but is too stubborn to admit it, which is why regular you gets in trouble at the dermatologist, because Vacation You doesn't do doctors. So bundle your RV with your home or auto policy and earn an automatic discount from Progressive. And spend the savings on the both of you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place. For changes big and small. Loud or quiet. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
During National Military Appreciation Month, we at University of Maryland Global Campus say thank you to the service members, veterans, and families who dedicate their lives to our country. We are deeply grateful. For over 75 years, UMGC has proudly served the military community, from installations overseas to the communities you call home. Wherever you serve, we stand with you. Learn more at umgc.edu/thanks. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chef.
Want to accelerate your career as a manager or executive in the exciting industry of sports? Florida Atlantic University's MBA in Sport Management program is ranked #1 in Florida and 10th in the world. Students learn practical and applied skills from top faculty and experts who work in the industry. With a 94% placement rate for all grads, the full-time MBA program sets students up for success in the world of sports. Check out Florida Atlantic University's MBA in Sport Management program today by going to business.fau.edu.
Ready to take on any terrain? The all-new 2025 Defender 110 P300S is here. Built for those who crave adventure without compromising on luxury. Lease the powerful 2025 Defender 110 P300S for just $889 per month for 36 months. Whether you're tackling the toughest roads or cruising the city, the Defender is ready for it all. Don't wait. Visit Land Rover Palm Beach today and experience the Defender like never before. Terms and conditions apply. See dealer for details.
While it's not always possible to see contaminated water coming out of the faucet, the taste is difficult to ignore. And what about plastics and pharmaceuticals now in the water? The team at Culligan is here to help. Culligan offers water testing and reverse osmosis systems designed to filter out those contaminants right at the source. Culligan has been helping the local community with water issues since 1936. Schedule your appointment today at Culligan.com.
Hey, Culligan man! Good Karma Brands is proud to be an equal opportunity employer. Our policy is to provide equal opportunity employment, development, and advancement to all current and potential teammates. If you are an organization that wants to learn more about careers with Good Karma Brands, please email careers@goodkarmabrands.com.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios, Theo Dorsey is Theoretically Speaking. Streaming live on YouTube, here's Theo Dorsey.
Mike Rizzo filling in for Theo Dorsey, Christian Cat behind the glass. You can stream us live, Twitter/X, Facebook, YouTube, at ESPN West Palm. Find us on that radio dial, 106.3 FM, and on that ESPN app. Go to Listen Live and scroll down to ESPN West Palm. We were talking movies. It's National Streaming Day across the United States. We were talking movies, and The Dark Knight got brought up. The best Batman movie ever. I mentioned I didn't think Jake Gyllenhaal's sister fit the role.
Call her by her name. That's a little disrespectful.
I don't know her first. If I'm being completely honest, I don't know her first name.
Maggie.
Thank you. Maggie Gyllenhaal didn't feel like she fit the role. And Christian thinks Stephen A. Smith has the answer for me why she didn't fill the role.
Not only him, but also Skip Bayless. A little bit of a throwback here.
We'll skip.
Finally, I must say that Maggie Gyllenhaal was weak as the love interest because I didn't buy her at all. And
I would agree with you there. I wasn't feeling her at all. A role like that, you need to get a Halle Berry, Beyonce, somebody. How about a Sanaa Lathan, a Gabrielle Union, somebody like even a sister. Just throw them up in it. Somebody fine. She wasn't it. You got me there. Every other point that you made, I think is utterly ridiculous.
He was dancing around it.
He really was.
And then he said, someone fine. She's not it. All right, Stephen A. Jeez, Louise.
Oh, my God. He basically said, yeah, she's not good looking enough. Dude, that was old for a sec. What was that, 2011, 2012?
Whenever the movie came out.
Yeah,
so
it was
that's like 08, right?
Yeah. Oh, my God. 08. Where were you in 08? I was 14. I think 08 was at
I didn't see it in
7th
theaters.
grade,
I was
8th
too
grade.
young.
Yeah, you were. You were in diapers. Oh gosh, no, not diapers, right? You weren't.
No, I was 10 years old.
Oh, okay. I certainly hope you weren't in diapers.
No.
But folks, it's National Streaming Day. We're talking a little movies, TV shows. I just, I was watching Andor, a Star Wars story. Christian's watching Lost. Christian, you also told me something before the show here. You were out at a No Names Please restaurant, and you weren't necessarily impressed with the dish you got, and you thought about sending it back. Do you send food back to the kitchen?
I am never going to be the one that sends food back. When you are in a male-female relationship, it's conventional that I've learned that the female is normally the one who has more motivation to send food back for the male in the relationship. I just noticed that because it happens in my relationship. It happens in many of my friends' relationships. It happens in Theo Dorsey's relationship. He told me about that as well, where I just don't, I don't know. I will get through it. And that is if a food item is not maybe served good, maybe it's cold, I'll still deal with it. Maybe the food item isn't exactly what I ordered, but I'll deal with it if it tastes okay. And specifically, if there's a hair in my food, I won't do a thing about it. I won't.
I'm the same way. I don't send food back. You want to know why? I worked in the service industry. You don't want to send food back. I'm not saying they do anything to it, but they're pissed at you, to be honest.
You just don't want someone unhappy making your food.
Yeah, they're upset. Now, and here, the only time I ever think about sending food back is if it's cold. That's it. Like you said, I get hair in food. God, I can deal with it.
What happens? I have hair.
Yeah, whatever. I shed too. Fine. It is what it is. But the only thing I truly can't stand would be if it's cold. My grandfather would send food back if it was cold. I kind of agree there, but I'm like you. I would just bite the bullet and do it. None of my significant others ever sent food back. And I've been in relationships, so I find that odd that you have that you think that with Theo and his experience too. That's how it is with his significant other. I don't know. I never had that experience. I didn't.
Yeah,
they'll send they would send drinks back because it wasn't up to par. But food, no, never food.
Yeah, that's
never
the experience
food.
I had, and I was at a crossroads with this exact experience over the weekend. Went to an Italian restaurant celebrating my girlfriend's brother's graduation. So, a special occasion. It only happens once in high school. So we went out of the town, went to an Italian restaurant to celebrate the cross, and I ordered mozzarella. Buffalo mozzarella, which is a special kind of mozzarella, especially in the Italian circles. And it wasn't good, Mike. The mozzarella wasn't good. So what are you going
to do?
What are you going to do? Mozzarella, it's not a science. Maybe it was just a bad day at the mozzarella factory and they got a bad batch. So I can't punish them for having bad mozzarella, even if you're an Italian restaurant. Things happen, so I didn't send it back, Mike.
It's not a science.
It might be a science.
It's not a science.
Because buffalo mozzarella is from a buffalo. That's where the milk comes from. I didn't know that. I thought it came from upstate New York.
The last time you had mozzarella was in Italy.
Yes.
That's probably why.
It's unfair competition.
Probably. I mean, if you watch The Sopranos, Tony Soprano ships mozzarella from Italy to New Jersey. That's how good the mozzarella is in the homeland.
And you know what? Maybe that is unfair standards to keep, but we're looking at the price tag of the mozzarella. If you're going to get me 17 bones for one ball of mozzarella, I'm expecting something pretty darn good. So that whet the appetite. I texted Theo. I think he is having a pit stop in Italy at some point.
Yep.
I asked him, hey, pick me up some. I'll pay for it, please. I'll get you some
That's
too.
got to clear customs, no?
Listen. There are places in the airports.
It's got to clear customs, Christian.
They don't got to know what they don't need to know.
You're smuggling cheese. Actually, Theo would be smuggling cheese.
Doing my dirty work for me, yeah.
Smuggling cheese. You want to know what my rule is for an Italian restaurant? If you can't cook, if you don't make a good chicken parm, I can't take you serious.
That's a litmus test?
That's it. I swear.
So that's the easiest possible dish.
Correct.
That is expected to be good/great.
Correct. Because it's a little bit of everything. You get red sauce on the side. So, Christian, on a chicken parm, comes with the meat, the breaded chicken, cheese, and then the pasta. So you get to taste the noodle. You get to taste
pasta on the chicken.
You get it on or on the side. I get it on the side. So what they usually do with the chicken parm, I told you, breaded chicken, cheese. They put sauce on the piece of chicken. So sauce is on there. And then I get my pasta on the side. So here's what I do. You get to taste the chicken and what the parm tastes like, right? And then you get to taste the noodle and the gravy. And I could judge an Italian restaurant because I'll be able to tell if the gravy is good, if the noodle is good, if the chicken is good, if the cheese is good. It's a good litmus test.
Huh.
It's a good litmus test.
You ever walk out of a restaurant? Maybe ordered and 30 minutes later, no food?
Now, granted, I never have. As a family, we have. But
okay, so it wasn't your call to walk out. It
wasn't my call to walk out. But my old man had every right to, and he had enough courtesy to go up to the waiter and go, we're going to leave. You know, like it's, and they understood too. They understood. My dad has a saying, and it's never again. Like, hey, this place, never again.
That dude is Italian.
Never again. So I'm not afraid to say it anymore because the operation is closed. It was Kingfish in Treasure Island, Florida, where my mother is from and where our condo is. Okay. The Kingfish, and at the time, my dad had, let's see, there were 6 young kids, his wife, my mom, and his sister-in-law, Susie.
Oh, this guy's going through hell. Are you kidding me?
Listen, he's got us all there. We order our drinks. The drinks take 30 minutes to get to the table. And my dad has, God bless him, a ton of patience when it comes to this kind of stuff. Christian, an hour goes by, we don't even order. And my dad went up to the guy and said, "Sir, we're going to leave, whatever." And to this day, it's still a conversation. My cousin Nicholas was the oldest of the bunch. He thought it was the funniest thing ever because, we had the minivans. Everyone, we were all piled up in the van.
It's an endeavor.
Correct. And my dad was driving. He goes, "Kids, I'm going to teach you something." He goes, "Kingfish, never again." It kind of became the saying of the trip because, there's a bunch of 9, 8, 10-year-olds in the car. We thought it was hysterical.
Oh, yeah. You repeat that line back to them like parrots.
Exactly. But like to this day, my brother and all our cousins, we all say never again. Like if some place was bad, it's, this, oh God, dude, never again. Never again.
The closest I got to walking out of somewhere, and I did, but there were like precautions put in place. There were ethical boundaries I had to assess and decide whether it was okay. I called this restaurant because they were supposed to be playing a pay-per-view that I wanted to watch. And I asked them on the phone, and they advertise it. I asked them on the phone, "Hey, are you going to be playing the pay-per-view?" They said yes. And I said, "This is very important. Are you going to be playing the sound of this pay-per-view?" Because the sound is very important.
It is.
Especially for a big show, a big game, a big wrestling pay-per-view.
Do you mind me asking what it was? Was it WWE?
It was wrestling. It was AEW.
Okay.
So, like, not exactly, but the same sport.
Sure.
If you will. And they said yes. We drive 45 minutes to that location to watch it. Sure enough, the pay-per-view not even on. It started. It's 8 o'clock. The show began. And then when they did eventually concede and put it on one of the smallest possible televisions in that venue, they would not put the volume on.
Oh.
They said because it's rated, like, they rated R, rated PG, whatever they do for live television ratings.
Yep.
It was rated mature maybe. And
so there was going to be swearing and...
Yeah. And they said they cannot put the volume on. So this whole endeavor cost me like 35 minutes, like 40 minutes. So I've already ordered water. And we ordered drinks. We left before the drinks got there.
Yep.
But the drinks were definitely being made, and they definitely went to waste. It definitely cost that restaurant something to make those drinks.
It went to the dishwasher out back.
Yeah, exactly.
He got his.
And I didn't pay a dime.
Yeah.
Because we never actually ate any food. Never actually drank any drink. They lied to me.
Lied to you.
Exactly. And I was only there to watch that show, and that show was not being given to me. Was I okay?
No, yeah, absolutely under bounds to do that. Absolutely under bounds.
Then it cost me 45 minutes of gas there, 45 minutes of gas back, and then I had to buy the pay-per-view myself.
Yep.
So I ended up in the net negative of that location.
Yep. You were 100% in the right to do it. You were.
Thank you.
You were. God, I can't believe they got the bad mozzarella in an Italian joint, Christian.
I know. When I was hyping it up for the people around me, my girlfriend's family is all Cuban.
Yeah.
And I was trying to explain to them.
But hang on. They're Cuban, though. They probably, you're Italian. You know this stuff. Were you able to pass it? Did you pass it as good food?
That's the thing.
Or did they?
I hyped it up a lot. I never conceded that the cheese wasn't to my liking.
Okay.
I kept the theater for them.
Did they like the place?
Yes.
Okay, good.
They did like it.
Mission accomplished.
Right. It only didn't satisfy me, which at a graduation dinner, that's okay. If everyone else had a good time, I picked the location, I made the reservation, I gave menu recommendations. If they had a good time, mission accomplished. If I'm the one who has a puss on my face, that's okay.
Very much so. Very much so. Folks, we have NBA Western Conference Finals action coming up tonight. We'll touch on that in the final segment. I guess I have a hot take coming up next on some of the players that are left in the conference finals. Who's the best player? I'll leave you with this before we go to break. Who's the best player left in the conference finals? I think my answer might surprise a couple people coming up next right here. Theoretically speaking, Mike Rizzo filling in for Theo, Christian Cat behind the glass on ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
It's Work Zone Awareness Week, Florida. Every year, lives are lost in work zones because of speeding and distractions. When you see orange cones, remember, slow down, follow the signs, and stay focused. Workers are counting on you to get home safely, and so are their families. Let's work together to prevent crashes and save lives. A safety reminder from the Florida Department of Transportation. Slow your roll, safety's the goal.
Is your credit on life support? Greenway Kia of West Palm Beach will be hosting a credit clinic at the dealership today and tomorrow. Local bank representatives will be on site to grant special approval to consumers who meet certain minimum criteria. If you have a job bringing home $350 weekly, the credit clinic at Greenway Kia of West Palm Beach wants to approve you so you can drive home your new Kia today. Greenway Kia of West Palm Beach will be hosting a credit clinic at the dealership today and tomorrow. Hello, is this thing on? I repeat, Greenway Kia of West Palm Beach will be hosting a credit clinic at the dealership today and tomorrow. If you have a job bringing home $350 weekly, the credit clinic wants to approve you for a new Kia today. So what are you waiting for? Don't miss the credit clinic today and tomorrow at Greenway Kia of West Palm Beach. Call 800-NEW-KIAs or go online at greenwaykiawestpalmbeach.com.
We want to see you in a Greenway Kia.
Credit affects down payment and approval term.
Hi, this is Scott Smith with Smith Ball Baez and Prather, Florida Injury Lawyers. We are a Florida civil trial law firm that specializes in the areas of personal injury and wrongful death. Our offices are located in Palm Beach Gardens, Boca Raton, and Port St. Lucie. Our lawyers have litigated thousands of matters at the Palm Beach, Martin, St. Lucie, and Indian River County courthouses. Our lawyers, paralegals, and other numerous members of our legal team live in Palm Beach County and Treasure Coast cities and towns such as West Palm Beach, Port St. Lucie, Lake Worth, Palm Beach Gardens, Palm City, Jupiter, and others just like you and your families. We are a statewide recognized law firm, but it is your community and your families that we live and associate with on a daily basis. Our most satisfying achievement is when we know that our legal power has helped a fellow member of our Palm Beach County and Treasure Coast community secure a fair and just huge result. If you've been injured, the lawyers at Smith Ball Baez and Prather will help. Call us at 500-HELP, 500-HELP. With Smith Ball Baez and Prather, help is just a local phone call away. Offices Palm Beach Gardens, Boca Raton, and Port St. Lucie.
Being a sports fan is tough. Bad calls, crushed dreams, Jets fans. Hi, this is Evan Cohen from Unsportsmanlike, and don't worry, we're here for you. ESPN 106.3 is your official sports therapy hotline. Go ahead, I'm listening.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios, Theo Dorsey is Theoretically Speaking. Streaming live on YouTube, here's Theo Dorsey.
NBA Western Conference Finals beginning tonight, 8:30 on ESPN. Mike Rizzo filling in for Theo Dorsey, Christian Cat behind the glass here at the City Place Studios, Theoretically Speaking. You can listen to us live on that ESPN app. Go to Listen Live, scroll down to ESPN West Palm. You can watch us on YouTube, Twitter/X, Facebook at ESPN West Palm, and on that radio dial, 106.3 FM. Now, Christian, who do you think the best player is left in the conference finals? You got the Knicks, you got the Pacers, and then obviously tonight T-Wolves and Thunder. Who is the best player in your mind that are left in the conference finals?
Keyword best player, not
Correct.
best season, right?
Correct.
Because only one was an MVP candidate.
Gilgeous-Alexander, correct. But I'm asking best player like right now. You know what I mean? We've played 3 rounds of the playoffs now. Who's the best player left?
I think I'd go Anthony Edwards.
That's fair.
I like how he plays both sides. I like his killer instinct. I kind of like Anthony Edwards right now.
And the reason if you're listening before the break, I got to go Brunson. He's the most. I think Jalen Brunson. I think is the most important player on his team. I know that might be unfair to Ant and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. All the offense
to
goes
his team.
Exactly. Okay. All the offense goes through those 3 guys right there, and Brunson, Edwards, and Gilgeous-Alexander. The offense goes through them, but. Dude, the way Brunson closed out some of those games when Jason Tatum was healthy, and let's make one thing clear, I think the Knicks were winning that series even with Tatum healthy. Granted, could the Celtics have come back 3-1 with a healthy Tatum? Whatever. All I'm saying is Brunson has been the most important on that team, just because the way he's been able to close those games out. They were down 20 points in the second half multiple times, twice in the Garden, the first 2 games of the series in the Eastern Conference semifinals. They were down 20 points. Brunson was able to have heroic efforts during those runs, and they were able to win the game. And I think there's something to be said about his bully ball once he gets to the lane. The Knicks played the Cavaliers 2 years ago, and I never even gave the Knicks a chance to beat the Cavs 2 years ago. And Brunson and that team surprised me, the way they smacked teams in the mouth. I thought the Knicks had been smacking teams in the mouth series in and series out so far this year. I know it's like Indiana likes to get out and run, Christian. The Knicks, I think, Thibodeau, they run their sets, they play 6 guys. But the one thing those teams have in common, they're physical. They're not afraid to quote unquote, smack each other in the mouth. I think the Knicks do it better than the Pacers. I'm giving advantage to New York in the Eastern Conference Finals. I am. And I think it is their year to go to the championship. I don't know if they're going to be able to beat, and I think it's going to be Oklahoma City. I'm down on Minnesota. I've told you and Colin this numerous times on Russo and Rizzo, which we're about to get to here, coming up at 4 o'clock. But I'm down on the T-Wolves. They did not necessarily impress me against the Golden State Warriors. They didn't. A couple of those games were single-digit games. The final game of the series, Game 5, was really the game they pulled away in. I believe as well, Game 2, they won by multiple points. But Anthony Edwards, specifically Game 1 in that series, and even throughout the playoffs, kind of has put up some stinkers. He's averaging 27, 5, and 4 during the playoffs, which is, nothing to snuff at. But he's disappeared in a couple of these games. Ant can't afford to disappear against the Oklahoma City Thunder, Christian.
Oh, so we're going to find out.
He could afford to disappear against a Warrior team that didn't have Steph Curry. And I stand by what I said. People could hate the what-ifs and all that garbage. If Steph Curry played in that series, they're playing in the Western Conference Finals. They are.
And you're not gonna, and I have not heard the name Tyrese Halliburton yet.
I'm bitter.
Tyrese Halliburton. He also pulled off a couple buzzer beaters.
Probably would be Colin's answer, if I had to guess.
Best player in the NBA playoffs right now?
Probably. He put up a stinker in the lone game the Cavaliers were able to win in, what was it, Game 3? He had like 4 points. I don't know. I hope the Indiana thing comes to an end because I'm still bitter, but they're a great team, man. I'll give them their flowers.
Hey! It took you long enough.
They're a great team, man. It's fine. Folks, you hear that music, that means it's time for us to go. We got Russo and Rizzo starting at 4 o'clock. You can hear myself and Christian Cat right there. We'll see you guys next time on Theoretically Speaking. Bye.
Are you ready for a global summer showdown? Saturday, June 14th at Hard Rock Stadium. Football legends collide at the opening match of the 2025 FIFA Club World Cup. Al Ahly versus Inter Miami. Messi, Jordi Alba, and Inter